Magandang umaga, kabayan, kanomad, kakapihan. Ago Pedalizo po, nag-uulat mula San Francisco. Welcome po sa isa na namang pandaigdigan talakayan. It's gonna be a very exciting discussion today. So, we're gonna hop in from, with different languages. Papatagalog po tayo, English during the debate, and then sometimes Hiligaynon, and I would imagine one of the speakers speaks Ilocano. So let's just be flexible po mga kaibigan. Welcome po ha. Welcome po sa Pilipinas. It's around 10 o'clock po. Of course, sa mga friends po natin from Hong Kong, Australia, always the West Coast po, from British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego. Ang mga friends po natin sa Canada, welcome po. And then we also have friends coming from Nevada, one of the swing states. So it's nice to have you here at makita natin yung the power of the Filipinos, and we're hoping na with all the discussions and the debate that we're gonna get something to give us a good power to decide. Okay, pasok lang po mga kaibigan. You know the drill, you know the comment section. Along the way, we hope we can get some of the comments. So, ano po mangyayari ngayon? Magkakaroon po ng, again, community discussion po. It's called a debate, but it's not really a debate, but it's a debate. I mean, we're going to be loose with some of the rules, but end of the day, though, it's not a competition. All we want to is just get some information, differentiation of where Harris versus where Trump fits in. What's the differences in their stances? Where do they, what issues do they support? And end of the day, po, we're hoping that come November 4, and come election day, then we're in a better position to make a decision. For those outside of the US, we're hoping that you get all the information. For those coming from the Philippines, then we hope we inspire you. For all we know, it's going to be another set of campaigns going on in the Philippines maybe a month from now. So come on board, mabuhay po kayo. We will start very soon. Welcome po, Sadie Serna from Nevada. Oh, Mario Santo Cruz from Virginia. Pasok. Of course po, si Tita Lloyd na promised to come. Yung mga kaibigan po natin, even from the Middle East po, minsan hindi sila nakakadalo ng live, but they come in pagkatapos po. Okay, I think it's worth introducing our speakers po. They're actually leaders who have worked so hard to make virtually the Filipinos and immigrants really proud of them. Of course po, first speaker, from San Francisco, with experience having overseen 3 trillion in cash transactions and an investment portfolio exceeding 280 billion. Genevieve brings over 25 years of leadership and operations expertise across nonprofit, corporate, and government sectors. I'm just looking at the profile now. Experience spans numerous roles, including 10 years in executive roles in various California political offices. California Assembly, Speaker Pro Tempore, California Board of Equalization, State Treasurer's Office, or STO. And as I remember, during the COVID time, we need some support from the government. So essentially po, it's a Filipina there in the government, helping the business, helping the people in the whole state of California. Born to Ilonggo and Caray, parents and raised in the Bay Area, Genevieve is fluent in Hiligaynon. Parang dad ko po. Dad ko po is from Iloilo. And she brings a unique cultural perspective to her work. Very active in different organizations. Genevieve co-founded Kaya. I remember Kaya being very active among Filipino-Americans for Progress. Born from Filipinos for Obama in 2008, establishing a model for grassroots political organizing. Let's welcome Genevieve Jopanda, the National Co-Chair of Filipino-Americans for Harris Walls. Pasok! Bati tayo, Genevieve!
Hello, maayong gabi sa mga Ilonggo. Good evening po. Thank you for having me.
If my dad were here, he's gonna be a big fan of you. Ilonggo. Hey, the other speaker we have, Noel is a serial entrepreneur and regularly appears in media talk circuits. He has been featured as host. Nako, Noel, you should host the debate next time. As host to many key events and spokesperson for many civic organizations throughout the U.S. As a holder of several information technology patents, wow. He spent 10 years in technical career education and has over 30 years of industry management, technical consulting, and business leadership experience. Believe naman ako. Currently, Noel serves as the president of the NAFA, Greater Los Angeles Region, and National Vice President of Civic Affairs for the Federation of Filipino-American Chambers of Commerce. He is the founding chairman and president of Lakas America Chamber of Commerce, as well as several other Filipino chambers of commerce throughout the region, including the Filipino-American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Los Angeles. He's a proponent of ethical business ownership, international trade, and promotes equitable treatment of the workforce. Papasukin natin, Noel Omega!
Hello, good evening. Magandang gabi, magandang umaga sa mga kababayan natin dyan. Naimbang ng bigat kanyayo amin, maayong buntag sa mga Kasibuano nato.
Sabi ko sa inyo we're gonna speak English, Hiligaynon, Cebuano, Ilocano, everything po. This makes this discussion so unique. Okay, call out ko lang yung mga dumating, ha? Tony Aguila, pasok po. Of course, Virgilio Ocharan, Bantugang Leona, De Guzman Fernan, Violi, pasok lang po, ha? And then, for all you know the comment section, pasok lang po tayo. I think Attorney Loida, pasok na po. Okay, sige. So, as I said a while ago, simple lang po to. This is not the typical, CN or facts type of debate, It's a community discussion. Of course, there's going to be a debate. And the whole thing is, it's not a competition. Our whole intention is actually that we learn, we hear the different perspectives, and we grow as a Filipino. So we hope we inspire even the Filipinos in the Philippines. You support us in as much as we support you. Ganun na po. 3 minutes. When I ask you, the thing is, when I ask you the first question or the second one, then maximum, you're going to speak for 3 minutes. And after that, response would be on the other side. Main thing is, whoever speaks first, he speaks the last. And otherwise, we're going to play along. Sabi sa Tagalog nga, pakiramdaman. But main thing is, we're going to educate, we're going to have great conversation. Welcome, si Sir Ramon Bunag. I remember he moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. And I figured out, Ramon, you're doing door-to-door. That's I would imagine. Okay, sige, let's start now. Sabi ni Violi. Okay, start na daw. Okay, sige mga kaibigan. Okay, let's start here. Okay. Let's go. Noel, let's start sa'yo, ha? Okay. Sige, and then maximum 3 minutes. If you can do 2 minutes, okay lang 'yon. And then we're gonna have some responses from the other side. Okay. Noel, for the economy, Trump claims to have expertise in running business and the economy. The Apprentice, remember that? And yet, during his term, the economy saw millions of jobs lost and many manufacturing companies shutting down, mainly due to his mismanagement. So, question for you, Noel, is Trump capable of running the economy? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ago, you kind of dropped out a little bit. Can you please repeat that? Can you still hear me?
Okay, I hear you. I'll say it again. Okay.
Nag-skip yung audio.
Okay.
I know you asked something about Trump and the economy.
Okay, I'll say it again. Hey, Noel.
Yes.
Trump claims to have expertise in running businesses and the economy. And yet, during his term, the economy saw millions of jobs getting lost and many manufacturing companies shutting down, mainly due to his mismanagement. Question, is Trump capable of running the economy? Go ahead.
I think I got the gist of the question, although I had some audio cut off coming in. We have to remember that during the time of President Donald Trump, then President number 45, we also saw the biggest pandemic that hit us in our generation. So that obviously generated a lot of challenges for the economy, not necessarily through his management, but because of the global situation. A lot of businesses were affected with that. there were also a lot of businesses that were forced to cease operations at that time. And so the focus at that time is to try to get the people in a healthier situation. And that was unfortunately capitalized by, at that time, the opposing political party to try to make it appear that it was Trump's fault, when in fact, he was just a victim of the circumstances that was spanning the globe. Ang ano doon, ang kailangang key takeaway doon is, were we able to try to mitigate yung issues because of the that pandemic? And I believe some of the actions that were done by the Trump administration is try to hurry up the vaccines. And indeed, the vaccine was one of the things that were made to come in on board soon thereafter. But of course, the economic impact of that one was also, unfortunately, to get a downturn because of the jobs lost. But during that time, the Trump administration actually generated a lot of jobs in the beginning. There were also a lot of businesses that were able to retool themselves to be able to manufacture in the United States. So that one got, unfortunately, stopped in its tracks because of the pandemic. And we believe that if Trump comes back into office, he will be able to take the reins back and continue where he left off and make the economical position of America great again.
Thank you. Okay. Ang galing. I mean, there was an audio problem a while ago, pero nag-okay naman, Noel. So we're good.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna ask for your response, Genevieve. But particularly though, on in addition to your response though, any reaction to that point that after the incident and COVID, that there was actually a revival supposedly of jobs under Trump? Yeah. Go ahead, Genevieve.
I'll just speak to the experience during, the pandemic, right? So it's having run a California agency, it's very difficult to manage a government agency when you're in a position of the unknown, and that being a leader during that time was very, very difficult. What I do remember around that time was that the China-US trade war, right? That the tariffs that Trump imposed on China then were retaliated back onto the US, impacted our supply chain. I remember getting calls because I was at the treasurer's office. I was at the state level, that we were getting calls from people, including my cousin who was in Silicon Valley, that was impacting the supply chain in the electronics business. And so I understand the sentiment of imposing tariffs and, basically fighting back and standing up for America in terms of bad actors, but there should also be a good plan in terms of business continuity, so that way the supply chain doesn't get impacted and then the costs then increase or are impacted towards the consumers, which is the American people. That's what I recall happened.
Okay, thanks, Genevieve. I'm gonna get your response, Noel. No, pero in addition to that, Noel, you remember that, right? The tariffs, tariff war between China and the US, it really impacted. And any economist you ask, it never went right. Okay, but in addition to that, though, going back to the COVID, that 3 million jobs were lost under Trump. So how could you ever say that Trump is a good manager for the economy? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, you can't pile it all on Trump because of the global situation then. Even if you look at other countries, it depends on how a particular country handled their situation. Some countries did better than others. The 3 million jobs lost were eventually all recouped. But, we also had some people that decided not to go back into the workforce anymore and just take on their savings and live their lives moving forward. But going back to the tariffs that you mentioned, see, tariff and that issue with putting extra tariff on China or other countries that were not playing ball with us. That is that's a tool that governments can use to try to normalize relations. That cannot fix things overnight. And what it is just take a look at a couple of companies that share technology. Sometimes they impose tariffs on each other, business to business, so that they can get to a more normalized state. America was just starting there, and then all of a sudden we had this COVID situation. The COVID situation took more precedence over the tariffs, but I believe that the tariffs kind of gave a wake-up call to China among all the other countries to make sure that they play ball with us. Unfortunately, Trump lost the last election cycle, so we wouldn't know how everything would have panned out unless we return him into office. That's precisely what we would like to do, so that we can determine how we can confirm or not confirm that those tariffs did eventually work, given 5 to 10 years time.
Thank you, Noel. Quick comment again, because your comment on the China tariff was rebutted, though. Any last thing? Otherwise, we're gonna proceed. Genevieve.
Well, I want to add to what Kuya Noel said, that I think it was a learning moment for all of us, right? I think we realized that there were some dependencies on China in terms of the supply chain, and I think Kuya Noel, having an engineering background, understands this. That I remember it was hard to rent cars, or it was hard to find cars to buy, because anything that's electrical requires chips. That's the brain to all of these electrical devices that we have. And this current administration has actually dedicated $2 billion through the CHIPS Act to help with expanding the semiconductor industry, including $500 million, where some of that's going to the Philippines. And so there's some help, coming to the Filipino people. And I think that the current administration learned from what had happened during that time.
Okay, you get the last words, Noel. 30 seconds just to, reinforce your point. Nag-free si Noel. All right.
Can you still hear me, Ago?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Well, I can hear you, but I'm sorry, but it was a little bit choppy a while ago. I did hear about chips. I did hear about the Philippines being mentioned, but I did not get the full context of the response.
No, I'm gonna give you 1 minute again to reinforce your point. Trump as being a good manager.
Yes. Well, obviously, Trump is a good negotiator, and sometimes you have to play hardball. We need to be able to understand that there are certain international trade rules that need to be put in play. Being from the technology and private sector, myself, I totally understand why we have to do some negotiations with certain economies with regard to trade. And as I said, we did not see the full fruition of the result of the trade exchanges that were happening during that time because of COVID. But now that COVID is practically gone, we need to be able to follow up on that. And I think that Trump will return into the same stance, and we're very confident that he should be able to do that job.
Perfect. Thanks, Noel. Hey, we're gonna go to you now, Genevieve. No, still on the economy. Is my voice going okay, Genevieve?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I could hear you.
The economy under Biden and Harris saw a huge jump. Let me show you the picture here. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
So the economy under Biden and Harris saw a huge increase in the price of food, gas, and other commodities that mainly affected the middle class, which Kamala and team brag of belonging to. Question is, will Kamala Harris be able to control inflation and improve the economy? Go ahead.
I think similar to the last question, inflation also is related to supply and demand, right? So that's why global relationships are really important when it comes to import-export and making sure that there's enough supply for demand. So if you don't have enough supply, then of course your costs go up. We saw that in the Philippines. Remember with the red onion situation? How much was it per kilo? And that was, that was their way of promoting other products. And so, what I do know about Kamala Harris is that she does have a plan to make it more affordable for the middle class. Being in the United States is very unique that we're one of the most powerful countries powerful countries in the world. Me being in California and Kamala Harris coming from California, we understand there's also luxuries that are at a cost for living in a state that has appreciated housing, but what she is determined to do, and she's committed to do, is to provide tax cuts to families who have newborn babies, which is $6,000, and then making sure that families who make less than $400,000 are not being taxed any more than they already are. So, she does have a plan. She wants to make it affordable, but in terms of inflation, again, it's similar to the question that we just had earlier, which is this balance of supply demand, our relationships with their other countries when it comes to import exports.
All right. Thanks, Genevieve. So, Noel, can you respond to that? But in addition to that, for a fact that under Biden as well, you got 3 million loss with the jobs with Trump, but you got 16 million new jobs created under Biden. So, any response to Genevieve's point? 2 minutes.
Well, although I apologize for the audio drop off. I think here in Southern California we're still seeing the vestiges.
Oh, now it's Noel. But that's fine. We will, we're flexible. Practice time. This is just a practice, mga kaibigan. For the meantime po, shout out sa mga nanonood sa atin, ha? Jessie Narbe, Berillo Ocharan, Bantugan Leona, De Guzman Fernan. Welcome po. Heart time kay Tony. Tanungin na yung mga may nagko-comment rito. Noel.
May mga Ilonggo dire.
Siguro. Hindi, sagutin lang natin to, ha. Minsan may mga comment rito eh. Bakit pinapakita yung mga Trump supporters sa vlog nyo? Para kayo nag-i-invite ng leaders. Hindi po. Ano po to? This is a democratic country, no? So that means in the US po, we welcome different opinions. In much the same way that when we talk about the Philippines, we're gonna talk about BBM and opposition, DDS and opposition. We're free. Okay. Again, if you can hear me, Noel, can you hear me?
Yeah, alam mo medyo choppy ng konti eh. So okay. I'll try my very best. I'll stay as long as I can stay.
Sige lang.
I know I was trying to explain a while ago yung question about the yung jobs at saka yung recovery and stuff like that. Can you repeat that last point so that I can respond to it? If I'm coming across okay now, no?
Yeah, you're good. Sige nga, Genevieve, the last two lines that you were pointing out. Less supply coming from China and then less jobs.
Yeah. So in terms of inflation, in response to that question, that it's related to our previous question about supply and demand, right? So if there's not enough supply for the demand, then obviously things will increase. And we saw that in the Philippines when there wasn't enough red onions and everyone was, I don't remember how much it was per kilo, but it was super expensive and it was hard to find. And so, and that's why I think global relations is really important, because you need to diversify your import-export and your different, I would call it, for simple terms, vendors, right? So if you have geopolitical issues with one particular country or one particular vendor, then you have, again, that business continuity. I think that running a government agency understands that you need to have diversity, so that way you have business continuity and business continues seamlessly when there's some kind of interruption.
Okay. Noel, if I pick it up, no? I mean, with 16 million jobs created under Biden, they opened up the economy. They didn't have tariff war with China. Everything just went well. Kind of the opposite with Trump. So, any comment on those points?
Right. Yes. Well, let me respond this way. As far as the supply chain not being fully satisfied before, we see that we also had a lot of supply chain influx problem here in America during the first half of the Biden-Harris administration. In fact, we're kind of experiencing a similar glut again right now. But right now, it's more artificial because there's now this strike that's being orchestrated by the Longshoremen Association. And that goes from all over the country because they want higher income to raise their the standard of living. So that goes back to the economic problem that was encountered during the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration. We're still seeing the trickling effect now because of the higher prices and the costs. Even with the jobs recovered, sometimes it's very difficult to catch up because prices are not just affordable. Also, during the first 18 months, we also had a big issue with ships offloading their items coming here to America. So it's not just the Philippines having the issue with the onions, but also whatever's coming into our ports here. They got the offloading problems in our ports. So that really was exacerbated along with the higher economic prices that we're paying for here.
Okay, thanks, Noel. Last words, Genevieve. Again, going back to the question, having 16 million new jobs, having stabilized, and even the Fed's cutting down the rate. The question is Kamala a better choice to run the economy? Go ahead, 2 minutes.
I think Kamala definitely is a better choice to run the economy versus someone who's had multiple failed businesses. So if you can't even run your businesses correctly and had multiple bankruptcies, I don't know how you could run a country and its budget.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great po. Sige, batiin ko lang yung mga dumating. Si Sir Hener, Jappy, Jesse, Virgilio, Bantugon. Pasok lang po and go ahead sa mga questions mo, ha? Ano ba sinasabi ni Paulo rito? Tingnan ko nga, may mga question from Joam. The information gap that the Filipino-Americans have to reconcile is that they see themselves as white, while Trump sees them as brown axe murderers. Okay. Sige nga, quick answers lang, just 30 seconds. Do you see yourself as a white person, Genevieve?
Absolutely not. Even though I was born here, I'm the first American born of immigrants. My father came here. My father came here during the fourth immigration wave as an engineer. He was a mechanical engineer, right? I don't see myself as white. I see myself as both. I'm actually dual citizen. I actually exercise my right to vote also in the Philippines. And I go back and forth. I've done social impact work in the Philippines and missions for the last 20 years. And the work that I do now is actually helping expand the middle class of the Philippines. So I don't look at myself as puti. I'm both.
You're
But
Ilongga,
I think,
actually.
yeah, I'm a very proud get ako ng Ilongga. But
yes.
I think the comment maybe what they're saying is that Donald Trump looks as immigrants as axe murderers, and he's shared a lot of that hate and that rhetoric that immigrants are, like we're fleeing in from everywhere illegally, and we're drug dealers and axe murderers, and that's just not true. I think that there are some people in the 80s who had to come here because they had to flee for their safety, from the Philippines, to basically create a new life for themselves because their livelihood or life was in danger, and actually actively participate as citizens and paying taxes, and yeah.
Thanks, Genevieve. Hey, just quickly, 30 seconds, Noel. My question rito would you consider yourself as kind of white?
Well, obviously, I do not consider myself white.
Okay.
I do consider myself a minority. And the important thing is, let's not put in our minds that because we are not white, that we are substandard. Instead, we should be very proud that we as Filipinos and indeed even as Asians were considered one of the top rung people when it comes to work and when it comes to our industry.
Okay. Hey, so
Can I
thank
add
you.
to that? I
Just
I
quickly,
just wanted
quickly.
to add to being a proud Filipino. I think I think when it comes to immigration, right? Filipinos came here and helped build America. You look at our frontliners, our nurses, our engineers, even in our federal government. We have postal workers. If it wasn't for Filipinos, I don't think we would have had, Silicon Valley. You look at Dado Banatao, who basically developed the microchip, right? You look at all of these nurses in the 70s and 80s that came here because they had a shortage. And those were the ones that were the front lines during the pandemic and that were marginally treated because Trump basically politicized masking, and that's people could have saved their lives. 1.5 million people lost their lives, and so I just wanted to add to being proud Filipino that us being as immigrants here in the United States, how much we've helped build the economy and build America.
Yeah, and we're
So
so proud of what we have.
thank you, Kuya Noel, because I agree with you there.
Salamat. Okay, I'm gonna ask you about the very controversial issue of immigration, huh? But before that, people just want to differentiate where Trump, where Harris stand on issues. So I'm gonna have some quick statements here. All I need from you is agree, yes or no lang. Do not give me reason. Okay. Ano lang to? Fast, ano lang to? Q&A. I'll start with you, Genevieve, no? Donald Trump saved the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Okay. Number 2, many immigrants are criminals. Agree, disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree. Number 3, for Trump, climate change is a hoax.
True. Agree.
Okay. Same thing, Noel. Number 1,
Okay.
Donald Trump saved the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. Agree, disagree?
No, I think he wants to overhaul the Affordable Care Act.
So okay. So your answer is agree, right? Okay. Many immigrants are criminals. Agree or disagree?
Well, there are certain qualities that immigrants do bring. I disagree that all immigrants are criminals, although if we
Noel.
don't vet them, we might let some through that are criminals.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have the third statement. All I need is agree or disagree. For Trump's statement, climate change is a hoax. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay. After your answer. Okay, guys. Okay, we're gonna go now to immigration. I had Genevieve. You were the last speaker, no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Noel, I'm gonna have you. Okay, I'm gonna have you. So, I'm gonna have you. Okay, so let's look at the pictures here, right? So we're gonna be on the immigration now. So Noel, Trump in his many pronouncements and even in the Project 2025, he actually has called for a massive deportation of undocumented immigrants, and even the military will be used. Question: knowing that the Filipinos belong to these immigrant communities, do the Filipinos have the reason to vote for Trump? Go ahead, 3 minutes or less.
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, first of all, as an immigrant myself, I had to go through the hoops to be vetted and to be qualified to come here. I still have many relatives that are waiting to be allowed to come here. They've been waiting 20 years. What really hurts is that we see all of these other nationalities coming in through our borders and they're not getting vetted. They're coming right across. Why don't they allow the people who are related and have been asked for to come here to come in first before we allow anybody who walks in. According to some statistics I've seen recently, there are a lot of walk-ins that hail from countries like China, countries like Venezuela, even from the Middle East. And they come in, and in the meantime, we have a lot of Filipinos that are still waiting to come here. And you know what? We were not going to be allowed to come here before unless we could prove that we are going to be financially viable before we come here. A lot of the people coming in here now, we don't do that. They just come here and they ask for political asylum. Why don't we do that as Filipinos? So as Filipinos, I don't think we have anything to worry about. I think we need to protect the viability and the possibility of good immigrants to come here. And I think Filipinos fall in that category. And I think Filipinos should not be afraid to vote for somebody like Trump.
Okay. Thank you, Noel. See, I don't have a timer because you always fit in less than 3 minutes anyway. Hey, Genevieve, again, as a response, going back to my question, though, that Trump, in his many pronouncements, actually called for a massive deportation of undocumented immigrants. And you heard Noel where he stands. Any comments?
Sure. I mean, even at the Republican National Convention, he had signs. Many people, he passed out signs. That's part of the Republican convention that said mass deportation to illegal immigrants. And you have to look at, when Trump talks about all of these open borders, he talks about the southern border and all these illegals coming into the United States. Maybe we wouldn't have that problem if he finished building that wall like he promised us how many years ago. Number one. Number two, I think that there are people who, for instance, in the Middle East, and there's some people in my network who helped a couple, LGBT couple, male couple from the Middle East, who are in love, and people should be in love with whoever they want to, would be killed in their country because that's not allowed. Same-sex relationships are not allowed, and they came here so that way they're able to be together and to love the person that your heart desires, and to be able to be safe to love somebody. And these are people who actually pay taxes. They're not doing illegal. They're not like, I don't know, selling black market stuff. They're not drug dealers. They just want to be themselves. And so this notion that immigrants are criminals, or even the notion that Filipino immigrants are okay and everybody else is not, I don't think that's fair. I don't think we should be generalizing immigrants that way. I think that there are people who come here across the border and they do jobs that our own citizens will not take, right? There's even people that are citizens, Americans, who don't even work. They live off of they live off of welfare. They won't get a job, but then they're the ones that are basically criticizing illegal immigrants that take their jobs from like the farm, or even nannying or domestic health care, domestic workers. But it's the people that support Trump. There's people that support Trump that are actually paying on their table for illegal immigrants to do the work for them.
Okay. So last word on your side, Noel. Again, on the point of immigrants here, I mean, they've contributed a lot. I mean, you're in California, very productive, highly educated, and even those undocumented ones, if you look at the FBI, said even the crime rates are far less than the local here. So going back again to the question,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. He just try to wrap up in less than a minute about the fact that, about the legitimacy of having massive deportation. Oh, nawawala si Noel. Okay, sige. Let's wait for Noel. I mean, let's give him the chance to wrap things up. Ano bang nagsasabi rito? Gus. Trump only wants white European immigrants. How can Filipino vote for Trump?
His wife is an immigrant. I don't understand that.
Yeah, okay. O sabi nga ni Mario rito di ba po ang asawa ni Trump ay may Einstein visa which was crazy. Okay. Ano sabi ni Sadie rito? It is sad that people don't study history. Let's not forget that our history in 1930 na tayo ngayon ang Mexico. Or we were once the Mexicans back in those days. Parang ganun gusto niya sabihin.
And Filipinos have been here since 1500s.
Yeah.
Right.
Ang sabi ni Mario rito, immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than US-born Americans. That is fine. Tama naman yon.
Right, because they're escaping crime in their own countries. That's crime against themselves that are harmful to their lives. So why would they jeopardize a life, that's better from where they escaped from?
Ito yung sinasabi ni Tony, ha? Mga kaibigan, we're just we're just being flexible here. We're waiting for Noel to come. Otherwise, we'll go on with the show. Tony Angela, but the pandemic came in the tail end of the presidency of Donald Trump, March of 2020. I don't know what you're saying, Tony. Does that mean that Donald Trump was a good a good economic manager? It's just that pandemic came in at the tail end. I-clarify mo, ha? Pero sige nga, assuming that is the where the argument is going for. If the pandemic came in at the tail end, does that give an excuse for Donald Trump? Does that make him a good economic manager? Genevieve.
What can you repeat that again?
If the pandemic came in at the tail end of presidency of Donald Trump, meaning parang sinasabi niya na things were going well, it's just that pandemic came in at the tail end and it just screws up everything. Was that a good excuse?
The way that I interpret this is that what Kuya Noel was saying was that during the with the job losses during Trump's term, he was relating it to the pandemic, but the pandemic came in 2020, which is his last year of his term. So that's how I interpret it, Mr. Aguila's comment.
Okay. Sige. Sabi niya rito. O sige, balik tayo. Well, I don't know if kung makakabalik si Noel. Okay. I think, hey, Noel, okay. Noel, are you back?
I'm having some audio technical issues here because of the bandwidth.
Yeah, that's fine. We're good to go. Sige, para exciting. Again, I'm gonna read some before we go to the next question. I'm gonna read some statements here, and all I need from you guys is agree or disagree. At least people should know where people stand on the issue. Now, okay. I'll start with you, Noel. Trump will cut Medicare and Medicaid. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Okay, can you repeat that? I just heard the do you disagree or agree?
Okay. Trump will cut Medicare and Medicaid. Agree or disagree?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Can you type it in for me?
I'll type it out.
My apologies. I did not hear you.
That's fine. Trump will cut Medicare.
I'm sorry. That's really bad. I can't.
Can you read?
Trump will cut Medicare.
Agree, disagree?
Oh no, disagree.
Okay, so okay. Next one.
I don't think he will cut Medicare.
Okay. Next one. Can you hear me? Okay. Next one. Trump will end climate protections. Nag-free si Noel, ha? Okay. Noel, can you hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay.
No, I can see your video, but your audio is really choppy. So it must be on my end.
No, I'll write it down. Can you hear me? Trump will cut climate protection. Okay. Can you read? Agree, disagree?
My screen is frozen right now. Are you guys still there?
We're here, we're here. Okay. Oh, okay. May challenges lang tayo mga kaibigan. Okay lang to. Can you hear me, Noel? Hindi, okay.
I can't hear you. Nawawala eh, nawawala.
That's fine, that's fine. Gusto mo exit ka, then balik mo ulit.
Awan.
Try to exit and then get in again. We'll try.
While we wait, Kuya Ago, there was a question about U.S. Philippines relations and the West Philippine Sea issue
Okay,
that I can talk about.
yeah. Actually, sige. Noel, try to exit and
I
then
like
pass
that.
it.
I like that issue.
Oh, sige. Okay. I just agree or disagree, ha? Agree or disagree lang. For West Philippine Sea, is Trump committed to defending West Philippine Sea from China? Noel, agree, disagree?
I agree.
So the question is Trump committed to defending West Philippine Sea from China? And your response is?
Agree.
Oh,
I
Genevieve.
agree.
Genevieve, is Trump committed to defending West Philippine Sea from China?
Disagree.
Disagree, right? Okay. So, I'll start with Genevieve first. On gun safety, do you believe in universal background check to ensure gun safety?
Absolutely. I think I think this year we've had over 430.
Okay,
Can you hear me
agree.
okay? Oh,
So
disagree. Oh,
yeah, agree.
yes.
Okay. Noel, the same statement. Agree, disagree?
On universal background checks,
Yes.
there has to be some kind of background check, not necessarily universal.
Okay, so you kind of disagree, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, next question now. Okay, we had Noel. No, we'll start with Genevieve now. I think you're gonna like this topic na to. Abortion,
Well,
Genevieve.
your audio sounds good right now, so I hope it stays like this.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Genevieve, on the issue of abortion, during the debate, I'm gonna show this one. During the debate, J.D. Vance argued that the right for abortion should be placed not on the shoulder of women, but on every state to decide. Right? So question is, why would you insist on abortion or the right for abortion despite the Supreme Court overturning it? Go ahead.
You know, I believe, and Kamala Harris believes in the right to choose. And I want to give you a very specific example that I have seen within my network where a woman becomes pregnant and at 12 or 14 weeks then starts to bleed and then starts to miscarry and is required to have an emergency abortion to save her life, right? But in some states, that's not allowed. So then she starts to hemorrhage and she'll hemorrhage to death if this emergency procedure is not done. In Texas, where I have a friend that is an emergency doctor, was to perform the emergency procedure based on whether at that time where she's hemorrhaging, the babies have heartbeat, then the woman would be criminalized and the doctor would be criminalized, even though it's a matter of, her water already broke. There's no way to save the baby, and her life is in danger. So that's currently the situation that we have right now. I think that women should have this is a very intimate decision. It doesn't go lightly, and it shouldn't be for government or for politicians to make decisions in these situations. They should stay out of it.
Okay. Thank you, Genevieve. So, response from you, Noel. The right for abortion, the right for women, and the right of women over the right of state to interfere. Any response?
Yes, definitely. We have to take account also the right of the unborn. Uh, I have to preface my answer this way. I am pro-life, and many of us are pro-life, and we want to take a look at this from not the position of just the choice of the woman, but also the ability to save the life of the unborn. Now, the government should really be worried about just legislating whether or not abortion is legal or illegal. That should not be the case. But there's also the input of a medically necessary abortion in order to save the life of either the mother or the child. When it comes to that, that becomes a decision that is discussed by the physician, the doctor, and if the father is there, so the father can also give feedback about the life of the child. But to save the life of the mother is a medical necessity, then obviously an abortion is going to have to be a medical necessity. But just unfettered abortion because somebody does not want a baby, what happens to the right of the unborn? That is something that I am morally abhorred, because we need to have the ability to make sure that we also protect the right of the unborn.
Okay, you got the last word, Genevieve. Again, can you defend the right for abortion and what the Roe versus Wade entails anyway, as being the right of women to do it? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I just don't believe that government should impose what should be done to women. If you talk about criminalizing women who have abortions, most abortions are done early term, and what Trump was saying during his debate was like late term. It's very. Yeah, I don't think you could go to a clinic that will allow you to do that, right? I think that it's nobody's business to tell me as a woman what to do with my body. If you're criminalizing women, why not also criminalize, the second half? It takes two people to conceive. Then why are you not criminalizing the man as well in this situation? So it's very misogynistic. I think it's very discriminatory against women. But I think it's not for the government to impose on a very intimate and very private decision.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. You know what? We hit the time, no? I mean, we had a hard stop at 1 hour, but we got it right. Siguro at this point, we're gonna conclude. Now, it's what 34 days before election, no? So I'm gonna go ahead with Noel first. Um, say your piece. Why should Filipino Americans and why should immigrants vote for Trump and Vance for the coming election? Go ahead.
Well, Trump and Vance not only present an economically viable solution or value proposition, but believe it or not, they're actually not racist. Many people use that particular monologue. They call them racists. They call them anti-immigrant. Not, I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth. Uh, we have a gentleman here that was a billionaire that wanted to serve his country and still wants to serve his country. And he would rather go through the hoops to make his skills and his resources available to serve the American people. And that, to me, makes him a hero. And we want to vote for somebody who has that particular gumption to be able to do that, instead of somebody who's just sitting there making promises and during the past 4 to 12 years have not really done anything measurably better than what they were just promising before.
Thank you, Noel. Yes, Genevieve, it's what 34 days before election. It's still a statistical tie, but we know for a fact though, that for the swing states, the immigrants, the Filipinos can make a difference, especially in Nevada. So, question is, why would the Filipino American community vote for Kamala and for Tim? Go ahead.
Sure. I just want to actually comment on what Clea Noel said, that Trump and Vance are not racist. I reject I reject that comment because they have openly said and made comments about, as recently about Haitians, right? Generalizing them and saying that they're eating cats and dogs and pets. And then what had happened the next day, right? The public safety had to come in because there's bomb threats, because they have influence on the narrative amongst their followers. So they are racist. When Trump was in office, one of the first things that he did in the first week was actually redirect the priorities of the White House initiatives, the AANHPI, which steered away from civil rights and the priorities of Asians. So that way we're well represented and that we're able to push policies that positively impact us. He changed that. And that's where your nephew worked. That's where we're able to celebrate Filipino-American History Month at the White House. He basically redirected the priorities there away from that. Trump took that away. I support Kamala because she represents immigrants. She doesn't promote promote hate, right? She's done good work. I know that she's been criticized for not doing anything the last 3 years or 4 years, but Trump has been there in office. He's known he's been running for office for how many years, but he has no plans. He can't even answer a question, directly or straight. He runs around in circles. So just even on a basic level, when you're just answering a question, you look at the vast difference between the two candidates, both for president and vice president. It's very, very clear that you have people that know what they're doing, that even know how to posture themselves, that even know how to lead versus, running a TV show or running a circus. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Thank you, Genevieve Jopanda, Noel Umaga. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of what you've contributed to the community, and we're hoping that many people learn from your opinions. So, mabuhay po kayo until then, and we're gonna have to do some campaigning for the few days left. Maraming salamat.
Salamat
Genevieve
po.
and
Take care.
Noel.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'll just stay here for a while. Okay. Salamat. Sige po, mga kaibigan, i-ano ko lang. Okay. Okay, mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po. Kung may mga tanong po, titingnan ko lang, sasagutin ko. Hindi, i-anuhin ko lang yung sabi ni wag mo sasagutin. Anyway, pasalamat na lang po ako sa mga dumating. Eric De La Cruz, Delia Rafo, Senator Tuazon, Chappy, Jesse, Virgilio Bantugan. Sabi rito may mga friends po ako diyan na sana daw itagalog or even Taglish kung sino daw mas karapat dapat kay Harris or Trump. Oo po kaya nga po tinatagalog namin, tinataglish namin. Kasi ano rin po may challenges po kami. But anyways po, between the line po, kumbaga Tagalog, English, Ilonggo or Ilocano po, we will manage to understand each other. Sabi ni Sadie, mabigat to. They're racist. We calling people cats and dogs. Okay, maraming salamat po sa mga hindi ko lang masagot po. Okay. Tanong from a friend, sino po daw sa dalawa ang best for a Filipino community out there? Kung pwede dahil Pinoy daw, Tagalog daw po tayo. Opo, pag ako po, Tagalog tayo. Pero ano lang po kasi may challenges po tayo. But anyway po, we were hoping that you understood partly English, partly Tagalog. Ang sabi ni Sir Gus, Biden and GOP senators proposed a new immigration bill, but Trump didn't want to have it passed because he wants to use the issue for his own advantage. Sabi ni, binabasa ko lang po yung mga na-miss ko. If Trump wins, how do you see U.S.-Filipino support in our West Philippine Sea issues? Sinagot po yan ng dalawang natin, mga leaders. Okay. Alright mga kaibigan, maraming salamat po. In respect lang po sa mga nag-speakers, hindi po ako, hindi ako makapag-comment. Okay. Maraming salamat po uli mga kaibigan. I'm hoping po 34 days, then we make our move. Kami po rito from California po, phone banking. Iba po pumunta sa Nevada po. Again, regardless kung sino pong kampi nyo, just do your part. Either door-to-door, phone banking, or social media campaign. Maraming salamat po mga kaibigan. Maraming salamat po sa ulitin.